Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to officially call this public meeting of the Mayor and Council to order. At this time, I'd ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer and/or reflection as we think of the people who have been affected by Hurricane Beryl. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please note the fire exits out the back into the main parking lot, and to my left, your right, into the main hallway. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of New Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall. Notices have been sent to the Record and the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people, within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. At this time, I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Sanusin. Councilwoman Starkey Hurley. Present. Councilwoman Duffy. Here. Councilman Grotzky.
Here.
Councilman Seymour. Council President Grant. Here. Mayor Petrino.
Here. Okay, before we start, I'm going to ask for a motion to add another appointment. I need a motion to add Ilya Kontrovich as alternate 2 on the zoning board. Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to appoint Nadira Arts to the Public Events Committee?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to appoint Louis Macario to the Flood Mitigation Committee?
So moved. Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And may I get a motion to appoint Ilya Kontrovich to Zoning Board, alternate 2?
Motion. Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
You got a second? Yeah. And Cheryl Calderon will move from alternate 1 to a regular member. Okay, presentation. Tonight, we're honored to have the 12U 2024 Little League Spring Champions. So we have some certificates for you guys. Any of the coaches want to say a few words? Yeah, come on up.
All right. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. Thank you guys for honoring us and honoring the team. Second year in a row we're up here. So last year was kind of a surprise that we were up here. I think this spring we expected to make it, and we actually went undefeated, 10-0 on the season. Just wanted to thank the parents, the kids for, their hard work, always coming to practice. It's not an easy thing doing this day in and day out, working for it, but the kids had a great season. We actually just got back from Cooperstown. That was a big job as well. Everybody fundraised, we stuck together. We were there together for 5 days together. So this team has come a long way, and I just wanted to thank everybody, parents included, and the kids. Thank you very much, and congrats, and, there's our trophy there. We brought it here for you guys. So give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right, when I call your name, come on up. So all of them say Certificate of Achievement, 12U 2024 Little League Spring Champions. Your achievement reflects itself in the pride of the community. Best wishes for a successful future. Presented this 22nd day of July 2024 on behalf of the governing body. Max Costello. Come on, hang up in the front row. Lorenzo DaCosta. Ronan Geiser. Oh, yes. Vinny Gabetti. Justin Camp. William Kenny. Ryan McClaskey. Eric Pierre. Christopher Vito. Braden Wright. Jaden Best. Anthony Handy. Lucas Salvano. And Connor Coplachia. Yes, absolutely. Guys, picture. Bring it together. Yes,
Congratulations. Way to go, guys. Keep going, guys. You're making Milford proud.
Mark, don't feel up. Don't feel up. Andy, all right. Wait for your face. All right. Congratulations. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to take a recess. All right. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Come on, guys. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
It's either cake or I don't understand.
Another big crowd.
Why is
Okay. Of your unfinished business, may I get approval of the minutes from the June 24th, 2024 public and closed session meetings.
So moved.
We have a second? All right. All in favor? Any opposed? We have one ordinance up for adoption tonight. That'll be 2024:19, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask you to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 19, Parks and Recreation of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford to add Section 19-2B to establish rules for tennis pickleball courts.
The purpose of this ordinance is to establish rules and regulations for the use of the borough's tennis and pickleball courts at Kennedy Field Sports Complex and Bailey Park. A couple of the changes are the amount of people you're allowed to have at one time playing on the courts. You're not allowed to bring chairs or coolers onto the courts, and a resident is allowed to have up to 3 guests at a time and play on the same court. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments regarding this ordinance, now is the opportunity. Seeing that there's no member of the public that wishes to comment on this ordinance, may I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading, closed to the public? Motion to close to the public?
Yeah, motion.
No.
Second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Saraki Hurley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have a few ordinances up for introduction tonight. The first one being 2024:20, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I'd ask you to please read the ordinance.
Bond ordinance to authorize the improvement of various roads in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $380,000 to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Okay, the purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate $350,000 DOT grant to resurface portions of Steuben Ave, Clinton Ave, Linwood, Maple, and Roosevelt. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing for this ordinance will be at our August 26th meeting. The next one for introduction tonight is 2024:21, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask you to please read the ordinance.
Capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $73,000 for the acquisition of various fire department equipment in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from a federal grant.
Purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate $73,000 from a federal grant for the American Rescue Plan to purchase equipment for the fire department, which is their turnout gear and their gear washer and dryer. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion to introduce. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing on this ordinance will also be at our August 26th meeting. (2024:22), and when the clerk has the opportunity, I'd ask you to please read the ordinance.
Capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $395,000 for the undertaking of channel stabilization improvements to the French Brook in the vicinity of Corpitson Road, in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from a state grant.
Purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate $395,000 from a New Jersey Department of Community Affairs grant for stabilization repairs to the French Brook. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing for this ordinance will be at our August 26th meeting. 2024:23, and when the clerk is ready, I'd ask you to please read the ordinance.
Capital ordinance of the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, authorizing the undertaking of interior renovations to the DPW building in, by, and for the borough, appropriating therefore the sum of $26,000 and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the capital improvement fund of the borough.
Okay, the purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate $26,000 from the borough's capital improvement fund for interior renovations to the main office of the DPW building, which is going to increase safety for our employees, and it's going to give residents easier service. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Public hearing for this ordinance will also be at our August 26th meeting. Okay, last one is 2024:24. And when the clerk is ready, I'd ask you to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Salary, adopted as Ordinance 9101, and amended annually by ordinances up to and including Ordinance 2024-06.
Purpose of this ordinance, what it does is it raises the salary range for special law enforcement officers, Class 2s and Class 3s, so the new range would be $30 to $40. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Okay. August 26th is going to be a busy meeting.
Yes.
This is Also set for adoption. Okay, moving on to item number 1 is schedule updates. Tuesday, August 6, 2024, is our annual National Night Out, sponsored by the New Milford Police Department. It'll take place from 7 to 10 p.m. on Kennedy Field. For more information, you can go to the boroughs and the police department's website and social media. Friday and Saturday, September 27th and 28th, is the Friends of the Library book sale, sponsored by the New Milford Friends of the Library. I don't have the time of that.
It's Friday afternoon and all day Saturday.
Friday afternoon and all day Saturday, and it's at the New Milford Public Library. On Friday and Saturday, September 28th and 29th, is the townwide garage sale, also sponsored by the Friends of the Library, and that's all day.
That's actually
All
Saturday
day,
and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Sunday.
Okay. Saturday and Sunday, 28th and 29th. Sunday, October 6th, is the Northern Valley Walk for Apraxia. It'll take place at 8 a.m. on the New Milford High School football field. For more information, you can go to the Northern New Jersey Apraxia social media page. On Saturday, October 5th, is our annual Clean Communities Day, sponsored by the New Milford Clean Communities, the New Milford Environmental and Energy Commission, and the New Milford DPW. It is from 9 to 12 p.m. at the DPW. Information for that will also be on the borough website. The rain date for that will be the next day on the 6th, October 6th. So I have Sunday, October 13th, is our annual Fire Awareness Day, sponsored by the New Milford Fire Department. It'll take place from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Knightsfield parking lot. For more information, it'll be on the borough website and the New Milford Fire Department's Facebook page. Is there any other events that I missed that Phil mentioned?
You always forget to mention the Mayor's Wellness Committee kickoff event.
Yeah.
But I don't remember off the top of my head the day of.
We're still adjusting the
Okay.
Saturdays in September, but the Mayor's Wellness Kickoff will take place in September. I'm not sure exactly what Saturday. I believe 3 of the 4 Saturdays we're going to have events, so
Yes.
more information to come. So get your sneakers ready. Okay, item number 2 is the administrator's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Starting with our engineering report, we're busy again. The Boulevard and Graphic Boulevard traffic signal was completed on July 16th and is up and running after a long-awaited
Yes.
moment. The Main Street streetscape, the bid is going to be advertised tomorrow, July 23rd, and the bids will be received on August 14th. French Brook, the ordinance to allocate the grant is being introduced tonight, and once approved, the design of the project can begin. Pine and Yew sanitary sewer remediation. We're currently waiting on information from borough engineer for the EPA grant application that must be submitted in order to make use of this funding that was appropriated through the Congress. Boulevard Phase 2, the bid's also going to be advertised tomorrow, July 23rd, and bids will be received on August 14th. The volleyball court at Kennedy Field Sports Complex, we are waiting on a revised estimate from the borough engineer in order to finalize the funding required to move forward. Hardcastle Pond improvements, the grant application was submitted to Bern County Open Space in early May, and we are awaiting a determination. NJDOT fiscal year 2025 road resurfacing, an application for the resurfacing of Marion, Roslyn, and Monroe was submitted on July 1st. 2024 Riverside Co-op road paving, portions of Columbia Street, Prospect Avenue, and the entire library parking lot were resurfaced today. NJDOT Steuben and various roads, the ordinance to allocate the DOT grant is being introduced tonight, and once approved, the design can begin. In other matters, a request for proposal for the joint FEMA grant management services for residential elevations for the Borough of New Milford and the Borough of Westwood was advertised on July 19th, with responses coming back on July 31st. Also, a request for proposals for the lease of borough-owned properties for the installation and operation of electrical vehicle charging stations on borough-owned land was advertised on July 16th, with responses coming back on July 31st. Beginning August 5th, Holy Name EMS will be permanently staffed 24/7, reporting directly to the River Road location. This new staffing model will provide more consistent coverage with a steady crew that will no longer rotate. And the only other thing I have to report is that, similar to July, there'll be just one meeting of the mayor and council in August, and that meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 26th. That's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And also with the paving, the roadway that runs parallel to the Barber Field that goes to Hardcastle Pond, also being repaved. And if you remember, we widened it so there will actually be a pedestrian walkway on the side. That would save it for everyone, since it's a very busy area during school season. Resolutions. Has everyone had a chance to look at them? Are there any that need to be pulled for further discussion and or vote? We're good? Okay. Council committee reports. Why don't we go around real quick, tell us what's going on, and we're going to start with Council President Grant.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
It's actually been a very quiet month, so I don't have anything to report. Most of my committees did not meet this month, and I was on vacation for a couple of weeks too.
Excellent. Thank you. Councilman Grassi?
Thank you, Mayor. I received some reports from our DPW, our 2024 solid waste tonnage. To date, through May, we spent $206,000. Compared to 2024, we've spent to 2023, we've spent to 2024, we spent $477.38 per ton versus $446.37 per ton in 23, which is a little bit more than last year, but nothing like the year before. So hopefully we could continue to keep those numbers down. As far as commingled mixed paper, we've actually averaged income for cardboard and mixed paper, but the commingled we've had to pay out. To date, through the end of June, we've paid $15,302. The average commingled for 2024 per ton is $79.42 as opposed to $83.18 for 2023, so we're doing somewhat okay there. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Duffy?
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I met with the fire department the beginning of last week, and they have been experiencing a very, very busy June and July. For July, they had 27 mutual aid calls and three house fires in Milford alone. 8 alarm malfunctions, 7 accidental fire alarms, smoke conditions 3, structure fire 4, water emergency 2, natural gas odors 4. I'm just reading the highlights here, but they've been very busy and they've been able to participate in the mutual aid between the 3 boroughs, Oradell, River Edge, and the Milford. And they're very happy about receiving the federal grant to purchase new turnout gear and a large washer to take care of any, hazmat type exposure to their equipment.
Yes.
So, and of course, we continue to talk about a very old fire truck. I'll just leave it at that. The health department met, and just briefly, I'll give you a highlight. 11 marriage licenses, this is from the registrar, 9 marriage transcripts, 68 death certificates, and that's about it for that. We do have one of our health inspectors that has taken a course and has qualified with credentials to measure certain decibel levels. So we're going to just call this the noise control ordinance, and we have a subcommittee right now meeting on this ordinance. It is been given to us through the New Jersey DEP, and together we're going to refine it, make it simpler to read, and relate it to our borough. So That's my report for those two. Oh, and I did attend Saturday, a Girl Scout Gold Award presentation at the library for, certain grasses that will help fireflies live and prosper in Milford, so. And I got a couple of people for the beautification committee at that.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
I'm having a successful week. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Thank you, Mayor. As hot as the summer has been, that's how quiet all of my committees have been. So it's been a quiet summer with committees and really haven't anything new to report besides our night out.
Excellent.
So that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to thank the DPW for doing a great job. If anyone has noticed by the gazebo, the Centennial Walkway has been put in. There is actually going to be a few extra locations, so at a certain point in time, we're going to be advertising again. So if anyone who missed the boat on getting their brick, we'll be advertising again, and we have a couple spots left. And the other thing coming a night out, we're actually going to launch it. New Milford will be taking part in the Veterans Banners. I know you've seen it in other towns where there's banners hanging on the posts for honoring veterans from our town or veterans that are related to residents in town. So keep an eye open for that on night out, because that's coming soon as well. And my historic New Bridge Landing was once again canceled from no quorum, so check back in next month. Okay. Anything else anyone needed to report? If not, we're going to have a presentation tonight. The Crossroads is back to talk about the former ShopRite site. So did you guys want to come up here or?
So we have boards against, we put them right here, or?
We moved down one.
We did,
Yes.
because we want it to be on the tape.
Yes. We're going to flip down against.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we do that?
That works, right? We're going to check to make sure it's okay. Perfect. If not, we just.
Yes.
Looks good?
Yep.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us again. My name is Anthony Volpe. I'm a partner of the Crossroads Companies. We were here on May 13th to introduce our proposed development concept for the property at 810 to 820 River Road in New Milford. Since that time, we've met with the Development Borough Subcommittee and had some dialogue with members of the borough, and based on feedback that we've received from the borough, we have made some revisions to the plan, which we're here to walk you through tonight. So there's really three main revisions that we made to the plan. The first one is that we've reduced the total density from 180 units to 160 units. The second major change that we made, if you look over here at the 3D rendering, this building that's in the front here was previously a 4-story building. We've now reduced that to a single story. And then the last notable change that we've made, I'll have that over here, you can see better on the aerial view, is that adjacent to that commercial building, which I just pointed out, we have added eight apartments that would be at the ground level, separated by a corridor with a private entrance. And those would be age-restricted units. They would be affordable age-restricted units. So originally, the plan was to have a 20% inclusion. At the request of the borough, 25% of that inclusion amount would be age-restricted. The reason that we've located those units here away from the main building is because there are some guidelines and some restrictions in federal housing laws that require if you're doing age-restricted units, they cannot be incorporated into a larger building that does not have any restrictions because it's essentially a form of discrimination. So in order to do age-restricted units anywhere within this complex, we'd have to have those units segregated from the other apartments. They'd have to have their own.
And that's not certification?
It's, just happens to be,
Yeah, I mean, I think, so what the Federal Housing Act says is that you can't discriminate against families and children, right? So when you do an age-restricted project, it's essentially an exception to being able to discriminate against families and children, but there are certain guidelines and you can't put it in the same project, where some units you're having age restricted and others not. You have to have an age restricted community essentially, so that's why they're separate and not incorporated into the same building.
Just state your name.
Sorry, Andy Norton, Council for Crossroads from Bay Area.
Thanks. So, people who are over 62 could live in the main building, but in a market rate.
correct.
Absolutely.
Well,
And then,
they'd be eligible for the affordable.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah.
And the other building as well.
as long as they met
The requirement.
that income requirement.
Right.
Correct.
Would the age requirement be building 65?
The age-restricted units will be 62 and over.
These would be 62 and over.
Oh, as well as, okay.
Yeah. There would be no age restrictions.
So the affordable age restricted has to be separated from the main population.
Yeah, the way it qualifies is it has to be, you have to be able to define it as its own community. And so that's why it has to be
It
separate.
doesn't preclude somebody who's 62 from qualifying for an affordable apartment in the other building. Well, as long as it's not technically labeled as age restricted.
Correct. It's interesting.
Yeah, and the requirement to have the separate, community for the age restricted has nothing to do with whether they're affordable or not. You could have all market units, and if you want to do an age restricted market project, it has to be an age restricted community. You can't have, family units interspersed.
So, hopping back to the new plan, so what we've added here is a little, so I'll give you the rundown of this new revised plan of the development statistics. So we have 160 total apartments. Of those 160, 128 would be market rate. 32 would be affordable, and of that 32, 8 would be age restricted. We still have the 12,500 square feet of commercial space, which the majority of which is in this building. And right now, we've designed a small pad site, but again, that could change depending on demand. And then we now have a total of 298 parking spaces, 170 of which are located in the garage under this building. The remaining 128 spaces are surface spaces.
You said the pad area might change.
So this is a concept plan right now, it's very preliminary. In order to get this pad built, we have to have a user who wants the pad site and the drive around. There are a couple retailers out there who we would love to attract to the site. Starbucks is an example, Panera is an example. But if there happens to either not be demand for it or the economics of it don't work, we would have to shift the plan around a little bit. In any scenario, we would still meet the same FAR, the 12,500 and apartment. It just could look a little different.
Is there any way to move those 8 apartments to the north side and move the other building into the other building so the retail isn't being mixed with the 8 apartments?
So there's a couple of challenges with that. The first challenge is that we have a building here today, and we have a tenant that we have to relocate, and in order to do that, we have to build their new space first. So that's why we chose this side of the site to build the bigger retail. That medical office, we believe they're going to choose to stay on site. We would be relocating them here, which would give us the ability to build a new pad site here. The other challenge with that is if we do want to do a pad site, you need a lot of clearance for the drive around. And if we move it over here, things could get jumbled and we might not be able to fit it all. That being said, it is possible that what you're suggesting may actually end up occurring in reality, again, based on the demand of the commercial users that we ultimately find.
Parking, will spaces be reserved, one per 12 minutes?
So parking would be an additional charge, and when a resident rents a parking space, it would be reserved for them exclusively and would be assigned.
That big,
That would be,
for the acres. Yeah.
so that would be to be determined based on so there's going to be a different charge for surface versus garage spaces. So it would be up to the resident what they prefer.
What percentage of the rent would be for parking?
Parking,
How would you determine?
it's based on demand and what the market comps tell us. We generally see surface parking spaces can rent anywhere as low as $25 up to $75 per month. Garage spaces generally rent from $75 to $150 per month.
So what you're saying is if a person doesn't want to pay for parking, they can't park.
They do have to rent the space, yeah, so.
So are you, so
Yeah.
affordable units, people paying less than market rate, their parking space costs less than.
There are guidelines under the Affordable Housing Act that help you determine the amount you could charge those residents for parking.
You make it a priority to them, the parking spaces that are near the units to those people there?
I would assume that they would like that, assuming that they don't want a garage space, because in either scenario, their garage space would be over here, so it doesn't help them that much. They would probably prefer to be able to go right there.
So what exactly is the market rate for the parking space? 120?
So there's a range. Typically, you call me off guard with that one a little bit, but one bedrooms are going to range between, for a very small one bedroom, probably in the low 2000s to the mid 2000s, all the way up to possibly the high 2000s, and two bedrooms are probably going to be high 2s, well into the 3s.
And the affordable?
Affordable is a calculation that it generally ends up being somewhere between 800 to 1200 a month, give or take, but there's a whole calculation that has to go.
And that calculation goes into effect when these are actually realized. That's when that number.
Correct, and it changes every year.
Yeah, the rents are established when we get COs for the affordables.
I just had a question regarding the entrance on Milford and River, the two entrances. Now, I know you said in his plan it is not in stone yet.
Right.
A lot of things that have to happen before this is finalized, but will there be considerations if we come to an agreement on this regarding public safety as far as, from a fire point of view, or from pedestrian safety as well?
Of course.
Because we have a lot of parkland west of there, southwest of there, and we will hope that these residents will be part of our community. And we want to make sure that the public safety is, I understand, but I want to know.
The answer is, of course, yes. The planning board will see, but we'll also be happy to meet. Oftentimes, we meet with the fire department ahead of time to get their feedback, try to incorporate as much of their feedback as we can. Obviously, there's always, restrictions we're working within, but there is a good amount of space on site to work with, and so I think we can come up with something that's the borough will be happy with.
So how far back is the retail in the building here from with the road, or back from,
I don't have the setback in front of me, but it's, it looks like at least 20 feet, I think, but I have to confirm that.
And dumpsters, trash, how's that going to
That would all be in the garage. We do all that enclosed. There will be, because of the commercial space, we have to figure out a little, loading and trash area for that. Again, this is still very conceptual in nature.
And I see why I would prefer having the apartments, understood. I see these two items here with the T on them.
Those are transformers.
Okay.
So I'll just continue on. We also edited,
it's not possible to drive around the main building.
not in its current configuration.
Are you thinking of changing it?
We can look at it. It's going to, we designed it this way for a few different reasons, but if there was, that's something we could discuss. I can't hear
Talking
it.
about a fire engine.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no code requirement that there be circulation fully around the building. I've been involved in numerous projects where there's not, 360 degree action.
It's actually very rare these
Yeah.
days because like most of our projects are usually up against something, a train track or something like that. And that's why, this site is actually great because you have the two means of egress right there. So, and you do have access all the way back here to the back of the building as well.
That any why is not in the back there?
Fire would probably come here and have to go on foot there.
On foot. What was going on?
So, unit mix. We added a unit mix table. So we've got, of the market rate units, we've got 58 one-bedrooms, 70 two-bedrooms, no three-bedrooms. The affordable is based on the fair share guidelines, which is 12 one-bedrooms, 8 of which would be restricted, 15 two-bedrooms, and 5 three-bedrooms, for a total of 32 affordable units. That is the presentation for tonight, but I'm happy to answer other questions you may have.
Are you still considering doing like a rooftop garden?
Yes. Absolutely. Interior courtyard, rooftop amenity, hotel-style lobby, amenity space that connects to that would have a resident lounge, possibly like a screening room, definitely a gym, kids' room, pet wash. Home offices are big these days. We like to have a co-working space that would tie into the interior courtyard. Units themselves would have very high-end finishes, probably similar to some of the other newer projects you've seen around today. LVT wood style floors, stainless steel appliances, washer dryer in unit. We'll have, some of the architecture would feature oversized windows. Some of our units would have what we call den/home office in the unit as well. So overall, just a higher end unit.
And the flagpole.
And a flag. We did, that was noted in our internal meeting.
Is there any other questions? We'll digest.
Yeah, let me just ask a question for me. Is the 32 affordable apartments, they just mixed in or in one?
So,
in the building?
the 88 restricted are here, the remaining 24 are spread out throughout this community. And their exact locations have yet to be determined, but they'll be spread out throughout the community. They'll have all the same finishes and features that the other units have.
I know it's not bad. Are there any balconies?
We don't do a lot of balconies, particularly on the exterior. We find they don't get used a lot. People leave stuff out there and it doesn't look great. What we will possibly do is balconies on the interior courtyard, which are next to each other. We could, maybe, what I've done in the past is we've looked at kind of like a French door with just a little tiny setback that you can't actually put a grill or a bike or anything on there, but it's just something nice. So we could possibly look at something like that.
On the exterior of these buildings, I think it's determined.
Not yet. That was, so, in terms of the process, we were hoping to talk a little bit about process.
Yeah, just to understand, this is the most preliminary stage of design, right? This is all very conceptual, and I'm sure through the process, things will change, details will change, but you guys will be involved essentially, and certainly at the next step, right? So the next step of design after this conceptual would be a redevelopment plan. But first, before we get there, we need to do the redevelopment area designation. So the next step that we would like to see the council take is to direct the planning board to undertake a study to declare the site an area in need of redevelopment. That, once the planning board does that study, if they recommend that the property is an area in need, then it will go to the council to actually declare the property an area in need of redevelopment. And once that's done, then there will be a redevelopment plan. And the redevelopment plan essentially becomes the zoning ordinance for this specific site. At that stage, you get into a significant level of more detail. Crossroads will do preliminary site plans, and we'll work with the board's planner and the council's planner and the borough's planner and borough engineer, and we'll come up with a definitive redevelopment plan with a lot more detail, which the council will adopt. And it will be referred to the planning board, and then for consistency, just like a zoning ordinance essentially, and it'll come back to the council for adoption. After that, then it will go to site plan approval, and then that would be another layer of additional detail where you're going to have, preliminary and final site plan, all the detail that goes along with that. And obviously, there will be an application for a financial agreement for the payment of taxes, which will come before the council as well. So there's multiple steps, and then the last stage, obviously, after site plan approval, will be going in for construction drawings, construction permits, which is a whole other level of detail. That is typically not, the council probably would not be involved in that stage. You sort of lay the ground in the redevelopment plan, and then sort of pass it to the planning board for site plan approval, and then to the construction department. So you get more and more detail as you go.
You said the estimates for the 4-year process.
From start to finish of construction, yeah, I mean, if we got moving, we could probably do all approvals of municipal county state in about 2 years.
Well, I mean, what I would think is, if we go reasonably quickly, a typical approvals process like this, I would say, is 12 to 18 months, right? And then that's to get an unappealable site plan approval, and then you have construction permits, and then you have construction, which is going to be like 20,
About 2 years.
2 years.
So that's how you get to the total 4 years.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to drive through it.
We do too. We would love to have it. We're going to try our best.
We haven't agreed on which one.
And we did have conversations with Chick-fil-A a while back, but the site was too interior at the time, but that was a while ago, so that may have changed.
It's not the nothing business.
Is there any other questions on this one? Thank you.
Council, question?
We do have handouts of these 2 pages as well as 5 additional ones.
I was just saying, if you want the boards,
You can have the board as well.
the boards.
Okay. So I'll leave these right here.
I know this from saying no, and nobody ever asked, but I don't know when it's for. Do you ever make, I don't know, models?
Oh, like,
Yeah.
No, that's kind of, I want to say. Yeah. But, you can look into it, never say never, right?
Big 3D printers.
Yeah.
These are the things that.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you.
Take a note.
You can't hide.
At this time, may I get a motion to open to the public?
Motion to open. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments related to the good and welfare of the Borough of Milford, now is your opportunity to speak. Okay. We're on hold. Yeah. Can I get a motion to close to the public?
Motion to close.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. May I get a motion to approve resolutions 2024:154 to 2024:176?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Most important.
Here we go. Can I get a motion to open to the public?
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments related to the good and welfare of the borough, now is your opportunity to come forward and speak.
Okay.
Yep, just give us your name.
My name is Connie Vasallo. Is this on? Can you hear me?
I think so. We can hear you.
Connie Vasallo?
Okay.
Yep. All right. Anyway, I'm here because I'm trying to get a fence installed. I already went to the planning board meeting, and I know they're getting a committee together, but I just want to state my case here, because I'm very upset. I applied for the fence. First of all, I've had my fence up 21 years. We were approved, and I want to say 3 years into when we moved in, by the first guy under the same ordinance for the 6 foot by our yard, because our house faces this way and our yard is on the side. It's a very old house. So I live on a main road. I live on Milford and Hirschfeld. The front of my house is on Milford, and when I tell you it's like a drag race, first of all, the street, I get the element that walks past my house. I find liquor bottles, food, they just throw all the trash in front of my house. So we don't know who walks there. So we had children and animals, so he came, the guy, he approved it, he saw where our yard was. So this time when I applied, the new guy, Vince, wouldn't even give us the time of day. He sent me a rejection letter. The fence guy was shocked, Admiral. He's like, because I called them, and I'm like, you know what? She goes, they sent you a rejection letter? So I said, yeah. She goes, that's funny. They never do that without sending it to us first. So I'm like, okay. So he went, well, that's what he told me, because there's a lot of fences around here. He went to Vince, tried to talk to me. He goes, I can reason with him. He knows me. Nothing. Wouldn't even budge. So now he wants to get 4 foot all the way around. My case is that I've had 2 people come through my fence. One guy was so drunk that Pam, your cousin, my other neighbor, Nick, and one other neighbor witnessed it in a pickup truck, a big one, like the big trucks. Came around the corner at like 60 miles an hour. Luckily missed my big fat tree. They took it down, that big old tree, if you know where I live. Missed it by a hair, went through my fence and in my yard. My fence has never been the same since. My husband keeps trying to fix it because my fence was fine until that happened. I had another girl try to commit suicide and knock the stop sign down, and I had another guy go through the low part of my fence and take out all my bushes and my fence. So I live on a dangerous corner, and I think that someone, and I'm hoping it's you, because I love you and I voted for you multiple times, will come out and look at my house and say, oh, another thing is I have pictures. Can I show you some pictures? I have pictures of my house, and I have pictures of a fence that he approved about 4 or 5 years ago that's situated the same way mine is, and he allowed the guy to put a 6-foot fence by his yard. So why 4 or 5 years later am I not getting approved for a fence that I've already held up for 21 years? I'm bothered. I'm starting to think it's personal, which is really upsetting, and I might request a meeting with him. But, I mean, I don't know if you can see. This is my house, Andy. I wish, just flip. If you go the other way, you're gonna see a prayer there, but go. That's my house. That's my fence, how rickety it is in the front from the guy knocking it down. I mean, he did a job on
The
that
issue
fence.
is the 6-foot fence.
Is by my yard. You see where the front of my house is?
Yeah.
So, keep going, you're gonna see my neighbors across the street. His house, it was where Matt used to live. The front of his house is where his front door was. The builder bought it and changed his front door to Hirschfeld. But legally, on the papers in the municipal building, his house is on Hirschfeld. It was designed exactly like mine. His house is a little bit older than mine, believe it or not, before it was redone. So do you see the fence that they approved? They went low and they went high by the yard. That's all we're asking. I don't even care about the other side. I didn't take pictures of it, but he allowed us to have it high on the side too, and then just low all the way around the front and side of the house. So I said, my husband said, I don't care about that part. We just want the privacy in our yard because it is so dangerous over there between the cars and the, you know, you can ask Pam, we spoke to her.
The issue is the 6-foot fence on the side yard, correct?
Say that again?
6-foot height, that's why.
Yeah, well, you know what, we'll settle for 5 foot. If he'll be reasonable, we would even settle for 5 foot. But we can't have 4 foot, we might as well be sitting out on the highway in our yard.
It's not about the zoning officer being reasonable, he has to follow the ordinance.
Well, the guy before him came out and looked,
And we can't be held to whether somebody did something that they shouldn't have done
well,
before.
I don't think it's that he shouldn't have done it. I was told, and I'm not gonna mention names in the office there, when I went and visited, in the zoning board and the planning board people said to me, oh, he can make the decision if he wants to.
No, he can't.
The zoning board can.
The zoning
The
board.
zoning
Well,
board.
see, I don't want to pay the money to go before the zoning board because I'm paying I had to pay to repair my fence, which didn't work because the guy destroyed it. Now I'm paying to, you know, I'm 67 years old. I mean, I'm not ready to have a career.
You had mentioned that, you said the planning board was forming a committee.
Well, that's, Tammy, I know Tammy too, I worked with her. She said that she's forming a committee to look into it, right? You were there.
Go ahead.
The planning board may be looking into the issue of how a front yard fence should be. If the committee has not met, if no determination has been made, and studies
Right.
are done yet, that's to be at some point.
Right.
And that was on the recommendation.
Like I-
That was on the recommendation of the
Yes.
planning board.
And the planning board did recommend to, Ms. Lakey to go to the zoning.
And
Yeah,
and then-
which I said, I don't want to spend $1,500 and $400 for an application.
Yeah.
It's just unfathomable that I pay taxes and I can't go before the zoning board and without paying all that money to state my case, because I've had this fence, you know, like even the Admiral guy said, usually they'll let us replace it if it's already existing. And like Vince knows, they know the whole scenario. They know the guy went through my fence. So I'm saying now, the whole scenario is, how did I have this for 21 years under the same ordinance? The ordinance has not changed. I had it under the same ordinance, but now they will not allow me to put it by my yard. And that is my yard. My door happens to be here, and my yard happens to be here. I didn't build the house.
Right.
But the fact is, that is my backyard.
Yeah, it's not personal against you, it's because there's a change and you're redoing the fence, it's being looked at under current law. I don't know what happened 21 years ago, but your only two options, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, is either go to the zoning board or wait for the law to change.
Well, that's
Seems
what I'm
like
saying.
that-
Do you think it will? They're kind of discouraging me. She encouraged me to come here. You know, Antonia encouraged me to come here. She said, at least go talk to them and, you know, talk to the mayor and council, because ultimately it will come before you for final approval. So I figured I had nothing to lose by at least explaining my situation, so you see why they should change this law. You know, is your yard private? Mine is not. Mine is on a main road. I need to have at least my yard.
I'm totally sympathetic to...
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, but...
I know, I knew why I voted for
It's
you.
either zoning board right now, or wait to see if...
Well, I am gonna wait, but if,
Right.
you know, my thing is, do you guys think that it will eventually change? Does it look like there's a light in the tunnel? I'm not telling you to guarantee me, but
All you can say is that it's going to be discussed, it's going to be discussed, and it hasn't been discussed, and even if it does get discussed, and a planning board makes a recommendation, it's not going to happen for at least, I mean, like, the earliest it could possibly happen would be like 6 months from now.
that's what I mean, everything takes so long. But I also met your brother, by the way, because I worked the voting. I've been doing it for hundreds of years, and I was telling him, and he's like, I know, believe me, my brother said it'll change, the law's changing. I'm like, well, good. So I know your whole family.
Thank you.
But anyway, all right, I guess I stated my case.
Yes.
I'm hoping it helps. I stated it at the planning board and here, so you know me well. Just for the record, I changed the law by the apartments for the parking. And the mayor was the red-haired girl, I can't remember her name. And I fought and fought and fought, and they changed it to 1 day a week on each street, because it was 7 days a week for no parking, till 10. And now I got it changed, because that's how I am. I stand up for what I believe, and I'm hoping that everybody hears my voice today. Have a great night. It was lovely meeting you all. Have a great night.
Have a great night.
Please take to heart. Stay safe. Take care. You too.
Making a motion to close to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will be going into closed session. When we come out of closed session, we will not be taking any action. We will immediately adjourn the meeting. So at this time, I'm making a motion to go into closed.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you are enjoying the summer and continue to enjoy the